Hey folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Welcome to the live stream. See that we've got quite a few already online, so thank you for joining and much appreciated. How was everybody's day today? Hopefully you had a good day, and hopefully you all can hear me, and hopefully everything is going smoothly on the technical end. Hopefully we have no issues tonight. Normally we have all kinds of things going on. So who wants to ask the first question? Who wants to be the first tonight? And we will do the best we can. I will do the best I can tonight to answer your questions and to respond. And let's just have fun, whatever you want to chat about. And we are all here. Can everybody hear me? I'm not seeing any responses in the comments. So a thumbs up if you can hear, a thumbs down if you can't in chat, not on the video. So let's do a mic check, make sure everything's going smooth. Check, 1 test. Quiet crowd tonight. So thank you all for joining. Much appreciated. Am I waiting for things to come out of Cam Jam New York? I am curious to see what happens there. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it this year. I've never been to Cam Jam New York. I would love to, though. I am curious to see some of the stuff that people talk about. There have been a couple of posts that I've seen that have, it looks like Hi-Fi has a new headphone that they released. There was, of course, the new Sennheiser. And there's a couple other things which I can't think of right at the moment, but yeah, I am curious to see what people talk about and see what the new hot thing is, and then hopefully I can get some of it in to do some reviews. I haven't really been following it much, though. I've been pretty busy with work and then some personal things that have been going on here at the house. So if you all know of things going on, feel free to chat about it tonight. That would be awesome. Volume is good. Awesome. All right. Fantastic. So we're good to go. Do let me know. There was a couple of things that people mentioned was during live streams. My microphone works good if I'm facing the camera and talking to you all. But if I lean over to check my comments, the volume tends to kind of dip. So if you notice that, I am going to try a different microphone for live streams at some point. I'm still doing some research to try to determine which one I want to use. So if you notice that, just say it in the comment, in the chat, and just say, hey, your volume dips when you're doing X. So that would be very good feedback from me. The new IFI Diablo. Interesting. I didn't know that they were making a second one. Is it going to be a Diablo signature? Or is it just going to be like the Diablo 2 type of thing? I'll have to look into that. That will be very interesting to hear, because I like the original. In fact, now you got me curious. Let me look over here, open another tab on my computer. IFI, do they have anything listed on their website yet about the Diablo? By the way, I did get the little IFI Go Link, which is their $60 dongle. So I'm curious to see how that would compare to some of the other dongles. All right, let's see here. Haven't heard the Unu yet. The Neo Stream, haven't heard that one. Air Blue, haven't heard that. Yeah, they do not have it, I don't think. Diablo, let's see. Portable audio. Whoops. Come on, work with me. All right, so there's the original. Yeah, so they don't have the second one listed yet on their website. IFI usually tends to keep things a little hush-hush. So that would be interesting to see once it comes on their website. And I'll have to reach out to them and say, hey, can I get a new one? So that's a good one to check out. Thank you for pointing that one out. And then the little Go link is pretty interesting. It's very small. It's about the size of like a Heidi's S9 Pro or things like that, along those lines. So it's the small slender USBs. So I'll do a review on that. Excuse me. Got an itch. All right, so let's see. Is the Dauntless still one of your favorites? Yeah, actually it is. I do like the Dauntless a lot. I think Katori did a very good job on the Dauntless, especially keeping it at its price point around $75-ish. It has a natural, analytical, neutral type of leaning sound to it. It can sound a little bit bright to some people, but it is more of a monitor type of sound versus a more pleasurable, sound. So, but yes, I do love the Dauntless. I think they did a very good job on it. Okay, so yeah, the new Diablo's at the Can Jam, but it hasn't been released yet. That's understandable. Okay, so let's see here. Any other questions or comments about Can Jam that you guys have heard? I have really not heard much at all. Excuse me, my tea is calling me. I've had too much coffee today, so I'm actually drinking tea. A little bit of sweet tea for tonight. Hey, Quantum Creator, how are you doing tonight? So I do enjoy everybody being here. 19 people for a Saturday night. And this is Saturday, not Friday, Dave. Told you my week is it's been messed. But yeah, pretty good crowd here for a Saturday night, 7 p.m. So thank you very much for everybody joining. I know some of you are really early wee hours of Sunday already, and some of you are just winding down your afternoon. Quantum Creator and I, we have the same cat. Which one are you talking? The tiger, my Opie, or are you talking my white and gray Milo, or are you talking my dark gray or my dark black and brown tiger Simon? I do have 3. First time watching the stream. Greetings from Croatia. Wow, that's a ways over there. That's probably early in the morning there. You're probably what 7, 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday there over in Croatia. If you see Sunny, it's the Norwegian cat. Okay, so you have the orange tiger. Yeah, they're fun cats. I like my Opie. He is sleeping somewhere out in the hallway. If I hear him screaming to get in, I'll open the door for him. Will I be doing a comparison? Ernest asks here. Will you be doing a comparison between the Zen's Mandiger top and the Moondrop variations? Yes, 100%. That was the one IEM that immediately came to mind that I would need to compare it to. So yes, that would be. I may throw in some thoughts about it comparing to the original Blessing 2. And I'm not sure what if I'm going to do a third comparison or not. But I think the top is probably its biggest competitor right now. If you guys have any other suggestions, let me know. Yeah, so Quanto, you're thinking about Opie. It's in the morning, actually. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That over there in Croatia, that you would be ahead of us, because the farther east you go, the more you get ahead of me. The farther west you go, the farther behind you get. If anybody's wondering, I'm in the middle of the United States, pretty much north middle. I'm in Indiana. So if you look at the map of the United States, Indiana is kind of right in the middle between Illinois, Ohio, and Kentucky. Michigan's up north there. We're kind of right there. So we do have here in-house, as I mentioned, I received the IFI Go link, had the fellow Hoosier. Welcome, Matthew. a got the AFU Performer 5s in, got the as I mentioned, the Go link, and then the variations, also the Singer SA1. Let me pull up my review schedule here. I can tell you what all we have in for whoops, not that, Dave. Come on, don't you know how to work a computer? Review schedule. There we go. Okay, so as you know, Singer SA1 and variations are next week, and then wow, that's bright. We have the QKZ Con. We have the Tanzu Heyday. We also have another CTM. We have the CTM CE110s. They're monitor type of IEM that are around $100. We have another acoustic audio. We have the R100s, which are kind of competitors to the CTMs. Let's see, we got the Tanzu Wiener, is it Wiener SG, the little cheapy $15, $20, I think they are. We have the ADV R32, the AFU Performer 5s, the Thea Audio Ghost, the TFZ Force 5, TFZ Force King, Odin Audio Studio Witch Pro, the Hibby R5 Gen 2, and the SMSL DO300. Those are all on the review schedule currently. So any of those interest you, let me know, and we'll try to squeeze them into the schedule as we go along. All right, so I saw some more questions come through. Let's see here. Howdy from London. Just ordered a C10. Looking forward to awesome. Hope you enjoy it. To hearing your impressions of it. I love the CTM DaVinci 10. Use them every day. They are my reference to all the other IEMs that I review. I don't normally mention it in a review, but all IEMs do get compared to it. So look forward to hearing your impressions of it. Quantum says that he is using his Titan S to watch the live stream. Awesome. That is the Titan S is a very good IEM for vocals and also for speech. I just find that the Titan S has this way of presenting mids in a very natural and organic type of way. I really like the Titan S for that presentation of it. Let's see, 191/7. He says a week ago I ordered an Alium PD4 amp deck. I've actually never heard of that because your Asus Zonar U5 sound card didn't have enough power for the Truth Ear Zeros, and you got a 4.4 cable for HD 560s. Cool. I'm curious to see if the 4.4 helps the 560 or not. I didn't use any balanced cables from what I recall with the 560, but they definitely do benefit and scale a little bit better with a better source. So it might help your experience a little bit. Truth Ear Zero, they I don't remember if they were very power hungry or not. Should arrive in about 2 weeks. All right, look forward to hearing your experience on that. Let's see, John Shepler, any suggestions for wireless earbuds for your teenage daughter? Preferably the least expensive since still teenager. Unfortunately, I'm not really a good source for that, John. I don't really use True Wireless, and my experience is very limited. So I'm going to leave that up to the chat to give some suggestions. Unfortunately, most of the reviews I've done on True Wireless, which are only a couple, have not been very good. Not in that my review wasn't good, but anyways, the product I didn't really like, so I'm going to leave it up to the chat. Lori, did you check out the 10 T4 Plus? No, I haven't gotten a T4 Plus yet. It is in the works, so I'm trying to get one in. Let's see here. Quantum, I do apologize. I won't comment on KZ or CCA gear. It's just because of their former tactics and how they are still presenting and going forward business ethics wise. I just don't agree with them. So I skip over those comments. It's not that I don't want to respond to your comment. I just don't answer to those. Let's see. Matthew Roop. You should try the TFC My Love 2022. It has a wide, deep bass, but enough mids and highs so it's not overpowering, and it's only $30. Okay. I will look into that. Thank you for the suggestion. Hey, Hobby Talks here. He's listening, but he's not able to chat much, but he is listening. That's no worries. I understand. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Quantum is relaxing. That's good. Ernest says that good review of the acoustic S6. I'm intrigued by how different it is from the different planars. Is it still around $175? Yeah, I may have gone up to its regular price. It was on sale for a while. S6 is completely different than all the other planars. It is very much focused to be analytical, and it is a very intense presentation. And in my opinion, it loses some of its naturalism, and it has a very bright presentation, can be hot in the treble. Moondrop Stellaris might be something similar presentation-wise to it. And neither one of those was what I was for that. It's, to me, you're better off getting something like a 10 Hi-Fi P1 Max, 7 hertz timeless, even though it is getting a little bit older in the tooth, so to speak, than an S6. If you're just looking for something pleasurable to listen to, if you really want all the details and you want a forced sound, and you're going to try to use them in like a studio type of setting, then the S6 might fit that need. But in my opinion, it's there's others out there that you could use. An S12 is better than it, even in the monitoring type of presentation, in my opinion. Let's see. HD 560s are wired balanced. The PD4 uses dual Cirrus Logic CS43 131s and 2 crystal oscillators, USB-C with 3.5 millimeter, 1.2 volt, or 1 to 2 volt, and a balance 4.4 up to 4 volt. Okay. So it's an interesting little DAC amp. Dual Cirrus Logic CS43 131s. I'm trying to think if I've heard that chip with anything else. Not a whole lot of Cirrus Logic stuff that I've heard, so interesting. I'll have to look that one up and see what it actually entails. Hobby Talk, I think it was John, was asking about the True Wireless. Hobby Talk recommends the Soundpeats Free 2 Classic for a budget earbud. Hobby Talk has reviewed a few of those, so you could check out his channel. He does a really good job with his reviews. I like his channel. So he's a little more of a user of True Wireless than I am. Let's see. There, I did my shilling for Hobby Talk, so put the check in the mail. Let's see. Like a cheaper Truthier Shio DAC XD. Okay. Interesting. I haven't heard the Truthier Shio yet, but I have heard good things about it. A lot of people seem to recommend it, so hopefully I can get one in at some point. What do you think of the Blonde B50 compared to the Rode? Haven't got it yet. It is supposed to be coming, but you're welcome, Hobby Talk. You're welcome. The B50 mine hasn't shipped yet, so we'll see what happens when it comes. Seems to be very mixed reviews early on, so I'm curious, very curious. I'm For me, Blonde's one of those companies that tries to do things different, and takes a chance on different ways of implementing things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And their headphones have been kind of hit or miss for me so far. So I'm kind of curious to see with the B50, and who knows, maybe we'll get something special. Let's see. I would, if it does come in, with it being the price point that it is, it would definitely go up against the Rode and probably a couple others I have around here, which like the ADV R32, which comes in at $100. And I'm trying to think, what else do I have that's close? I don't have a whole lot of closebacks. AKG K275s, maybe, things like that. All right, let's see. Since you're here to help, how does one connect a smartphone to a desktop DAC? I have a cable to go from USB-C to USB. Do I need to change my phone to MIDI or file transfers, AUN DAC? It depends on the phone. Some of them you may need to change your USB setting, but if it's just straight up Android, normally you can just plug in the cable. And your DAC should do all the work if it has the proper drivers. If it's an AUN DAC, it should work pretty well. Is it an X1S or is it a what was their other ones? X7? Something like that. It should be just a pretty simple USB-C to USB-A cable that you can plug it in, and it should find it. Normally, if it's Android. If it's Apple, no idea. All right. Quantum, thank you very much for the $4.99. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. All right, let's see. You got to go back up here. I think I missed a few things. Matthew, thank you for understanding. Matthew has total respect for not commenting on certain brands. Thank you very much. The TriStar River is supposed to be coming. It's supposed to be in transit. I haven't received it yet, so I believe it's either coming from Hi-Fi Go or Keep Hi-Fi. So it should be coming. They tend to take a little bit of time to send things, but I'm sure it's on its way. I do look forward to hearing that. I've had one of those kind of appreciations for Tri. They're kind of like Blonde in that they try different technologies and different driver configs and stuff. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And yeah, I like companies that try different things. And of course, Tri is part of KB Ear also, and I like KB. They're kind of the same way. So you get some that you're like, oh, this is good. And then you get others, you're like, try again. All right, let's see what else we got here. You ordered a 4.4 2-pin for your IEMs. That's awesome. A lot of things are coming in with 4.4 now, especially like amps. So if you need more additional power, that does come in handy. So I'm glad to see that you're, future proofing, so much to speak. All right, let's see here. All right, so I answered that question about USB. Let's see here. What's your recommendation from upgrading from Massdrop Aria? I'm looking for a better soundstage and detail under $300. Well, the quickest and cheaper version of it would be, or not version of it that you saw spend more money, would be the Massdrop Kato. The Massdrop Kato is better in my opinion if you want to stay in the Massdrop family. You could go Blessing 2, but you're going to have a different type of sound. It's going to be a little bit more brighter. It's going to be way bigger at soundstage, but you're going to lose a little bit of that body weight. So you could go Blessing Dusk, but I haven't heard the Dusk. And if you want a more neutral-ish type of sound, you could always go with, if you're looking around the $300 price point, You could go Zen's Mangard T2. You could go with a JQ4U Pro, but those both are going to be more neutral standing, whereas the Aria is a little bit more U-shaped. You got a little more emphasis in the bass and in the treble. But those would be my suggestions. But Kato is the easy suggestion. Okay. What do you think is the charm of a 1DD IEM? So you mean like the charm as far as what is the appeal? Why do they sound good, or what do I think makes them sound good? Or are you talking about what is the one charmer of an IEM in that of a 1DD? As far as the charm or the appeal of a single dynamic driver IEM is, I think it's the tone and timbre. With a 1DD, normally you get really good tone and timbre. That's kind of their specialty, and also you also normally get some nice bass impact. It's usually a little bit more mid bass focused, but I think that's kind of the draw of a single dynamic driver, is that bass impact, mid bass, and then the note weight and the body and tone and timbre of the mids. Sometimes single dynamics can struggle a little bit in treble. They don't extend quite as well to the bass and to the treble. So I think that's the charm of it. If you're looking for the charm, like the one IEM that's a single DD, probably Moondrop Kato would be the easy choice again. I really like the Kato. All right, so let's see. Or the Titan S. Okay, could you comment on the C Audio Bravery versus the Mangard Top? Which one is the better investment? Kind of did that in the review. I would tend to actually lean towards the top. I think the top has a little bit better note weight and density. It's a little bit thicker sounding and has a little bit more appealing naturalism, whereas the Bravery is a little bit more neutral leaning and a little bit thinner sounding, especially down in the lowers. It's a little bit more dipped out. The top also has just little bit more of that fun factor, a little bit more engagement because of the big, powerful bass that it has, and then a little bit of sparkle and energy up top. I would tend to lean towards the top, but I like both. I really do like the Bravery a lot too. Also, the Bravery tends to be a little bit source picky, whereas the top quite isn't. So Matthew, you have the Ayun Flamingo. I haven't experienced that yet. That looks really, really interesting. I was hoping that I'd get sent one, but I wasn't. The Flamingo looks really cool. I'm curious to see what you think of that. Hopefully you can just plug it in. Most Ayuns are very much plug and play. What can you say about my vast IEM collection? Well, let's see what you got. Whoops. Hold on. What happened to my screen? There we go. All right, so you have Truth Air Zero, QKZ HBB Con, the 7 Hertz Cell Notes Zero, the Zex Pro, the Chew, the Quarks DSP, the Brainwaves Omega, and the Remax RD610D, and the Panasonic HGE 120. All right, so I haven't heard the Panasonic, the Remax, the Omega, the DSP. Excuse me. I'm going to say that you like a little bit of a more elevated upper mids and treble with big bass. Maybe a little bit brighter of a signature up top. It's a good starter set for me. It's in the budget world. And I think that you can add in something a little bit more of a more natural and neutral sound that may kind of alter your thinking of how things sound. Let's put it that way. It may enhance it and go, wow, I never heard it this way. So something like a Tin Hi-Fi T2, you could go with a Dunu Titan S. You could go with a Katori Dauntless. Let's keep you in under $100. You could go even with a let's stick with those three under 100. And I think it would kind of give you a different perspective on music, and you would be able to hear what you can get by spending even more. And if you were to go beyond that, whoops, sorry, didn't mean to hit the microphone. If you go beyond that, I would start with the Moondrop Kato. Well, yeah, I do think you're in a good starting place. Okay, Matthew does not use Apple, so he's an Android Linux type of user. So that will work out well for you, being able to plug and play. I do believe. I think that you should be able to just connect it pretty easily. All right, let's see. I haven't heard any. Again, Quantum. I don't really comment on KZ products, and I have turned down offers for that also because of ethical reasonings. AWS Danny. Hey, Danny, what's up? I have the TriStar River on the way too. It's sitting somewhere in the warehouse. Yeah, I think mine is too. So maybe we'll get it at the same time. All right, let's see. Sock Hop Singer. Hope all's well. Yep, doing good. Can you recommend a good balanced cable with a 2.5 termination that would go into something like a Qdex 5K? You can do Hart cable, Hart audio cables. You could also do something from Periop Audio. Fog City Audio, he's out of San Francisco, also does really good cables, something similar to Hart Audio. If you're looking just for like 2.5 to 2.5 or something like that, there's little ones that you can get from FIO. You can also get them from IFI. On Amazon, they usually run somewhere about $5 to $10. Mohammed, you're very welcome. Hopefully you found that answer to be helpful. Okay, so Matthew, the AudioSense AQ4 is a bargain under 100 right now. Haven't heard of that one. Actually, I've never reviewed an AudioSense product, so thank you for the suggestion. Let's see, Quantum. I saw the Meze Ray Solos for 150. Is it worth buying in 2023? They are a little old. You could probably, I mean, they're not a bad piece to add to a collection if you just want to have another Ray, another Meze, or you want to have a Meze. But there's better options out now at that price point that outperform it. It's just it's an okay sound, and I do like the Ray Solo. Haven't heard it in quite a while, but I think that you could get something that would be a better performer over it nowadays. Let's see. Have you heard about the Fosse Audio DS1 dongle? It's comes in around $69. Has great specs. Actually, I did. Fosse Audio, I think. Was it Fosse? It was either Fosse or FX. I can't remember. One of them reached out to me and has asked if I'm interested in reviewing some of their products. I haven't really looked into it yet. Haven't had time to respond. If that's one of them, I definitely will consider it. So thank you for the heads up. Let's see. Matthew, I just pushed over 40 IEMs. Oh, wow. Let's see. Check out different signatures till you find the one that scratches the itch. Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with having multiples. I know that I have a few friends that say, I'm a one IEM and one headphone type of person. Cool. If you can find that perfect one. But I'm kind of more having a few around because you never know what the itch is going to be. Some days you may want to listen to something different than normal. So yeah, absolutely. You find your signature. That's your benchmark and is your go-to, and then find other ones that you kind of enjoy. Because, as much as I'm a neutral person and very natural sound preference, I do like some bassy IEMs and bassy headphones. So I also like a few treble head ones, like real piercing treble, and some mid forward stuff. So yeah, I mean, find your niche and enjoy it. Which is better, the cadenza or the con? That is a good question, and you'll have to wait till the review. Unfortunately, I haven't really done very much of a comparison on that. to be honest. I can't answer that at the moment. But I will hopefully address that in the comparison because they're very similar in price. For a neutral sound, I have the HD 560, but I use those only on weekends because gamer hair is not a good thing to have at work. Oh, come on. I have like headphone hair all day long at work because I have to wear a headphone for my phone. So Reezy says that he likes to con over the cadenza. Well, whoops, what? Whoa, hang on. Let me pop this out. It's coming in hot and heavy at the moment here. Okay, let's see. Where was my spot? Will you be reviewing the topping G5? G5. That's a little DAC amp, right? It's kind of like the NX7. If one's provided, I haven't really researched it much, to be honest. Let's see. I have 8 IEMs. Don't tell the wife. And it's only your cat's secret. I understand it. And you also have the 58X from Sennheiser. I have the 580s, Jubilees. Outside of reviewing, do you find yourself listening to IEMs or headphones more? Brian, I actually find myself listening to headphones more. I am actually more of a headphone guy than an IEM guy. IEMs for me on personal listening time are more just for like when I'm traveling or portable use, or if I need to like really be, in a place that I can't be disturbed, I'll use more IEMs. But normally, first grabs are headphones. Your end game is the Blessing 2. Okay. Blessing 2 is a very good IEM. It has a very neutral, analytical leaning sound, a little bit thin in the body weight, and can be a little bit on the upper mids and treble, a little forward. You can have little bits of moments of a little bit of intensity. But overall, I really like the Blessing 2. 191.7. Oh, and my QKZ HBB cons they're not the con. Okay, so they're the older one. Okay. Without the con. It's like a 7 hertz 0 with boosted bass. That might not be a bad thing, actually. Encore. Thanks for your Harmonic Dyne Athena review. Just ordered them. Can't wait. Awesome. Look forward to hearing your impressions. And they really surprised me. I was pleasantly surprised by the way the Athenas are for a harmonic dyne. So I was really, really impressed by those. Especially when you go into think, oh, these are going to be a close back, and you don't even really look at them. Whatever, I don't know what I was thinking. And then I put them on, and I'm like, wow, these things do not sound closed at all. Turn to find out they're not. All right, let's see here. If you have an itch for bassy IEMs, then what's it you're going to consistently? Lately, it's been the Zen's Mangard top. Those things are amazing for bass. Quantum, it's like having a stack of speakers for multiple music tunes. Yeah, absolutely. Sup Singer says the topping G5 is fabulous. Well, that's good. Let's see. Do I have the Simga E500s? No. But somebody else may, I think. Maybe you're responding to somebody else. Sorry. And now I can't wait to see a review of the Alium PD4. If I can get one. Let's see. Have I tried the variations? Yes, I actually have them in-house right now. They are scheduled for review on Tuesday. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Definitely will be compared to the Zen's Mangard top. And any suggestions of what else I should compare them to? Because I'm kind of tossing around whether or not I should do it against the Blessing 2 or the Thea Audio Oracle Mark II, or something else. So throw out some ideas here, and I'll see if I have that IEM in, and maybe we'll be able to get it into the review. Wow, the Harmonic Dyne Athena is sold out on Amazon. Interesting. How about if you go straight through Linsol? You might still be able to get it over there. Take a little longer to come in, but you might be able to get it through Linsol. Does the Athena need power? It's easy to drive. Like, you can use it portable, and it sounds okay. I do think it scales with a little bit better power, but it's not super hard to drive. It's one of the more easy to drive dynamics. I think what was it, 32 ohms on like 117 decibel sensitivity. So it's not very picky, but it does scale with a little bit better. Should I get a 2.5 balance cable for the Athena, especially for my BTR5? Well, they connect with 3.5 into the headphone, so a 3.5 to 2.5 probably wouldn't be a real hard cable to come by. Might not be a bad option if it's in your budget, but I think you can get away with it running a single-ended. What's my favorite V-shaped IEM, 500 or less? That's a good question. You know what? 500 or less V, like extreme V. I'm trying to think. What would be for under 5? I have to cheat here. Now, it can be any configuration, dynamic, BA, planar, anything of the sort. Give me a second. Let's see. I would probably. Oh, I know a bunch that aren't. One of the most fun ones, I will just put it this way, would be the Chimera Odor. The Bravery's pretty good, but I would probably have to say it's, even though it comes in just slightly over 5, would be the top. Would be my favorite V. All right, so let's go back over here, and my screen disappeared. Let me get my notes back up. There we go. All right, so where was I? All right, here we go. Good bass options that are cheap would be the K-Bear Rosefinch. Haven't heard that one. The Flow Audio Kala. Haven't heard that. Tiana Hydra. Hopefully I'm saying that right. TD06. Haven't heard that. Are good bass options. Okay. Let's see. 191 by 7 says, from 2013 to middle 2021, I used a HyperX Cloud Pro, or a rebrand Takstar Pro 80, with a Zonar DG and U5 onboard Realtek. The 560s were a huge upgrade in the last 6 months. The IEMs, yeah, I mean, I can totally understand that. HyperX is good for like gaming, to if you're not really listening to music or being super picky. But once you hear what a soundstage really sounds like, and what music sounds like on a good headphone, it's really hard to go back. I can understand that. Can you recommend a detachable cable bullet IEM. Actually, I can't think of one off the top of my head. I haven't reviewed a ton of bullet type shaped IEMs. Somebody who may be able to answer that question for you. I don't think he's in the chat tonight, but it would be Intuit Reviews. He's reviewed a few more bullet shape IEMs. He might know of one off the top of his head. So I would shoot him a message on one of his videos and see if he would respond. So that's Intuit, INTOIT Reviews. Ask him that question. He might be able to come up with something other than me. All right, I got to charge Intuit a check too. There's a shout out for him. Okay, so let's see here. Which value for money portable DAC would you suggest? You want to go dongle, or do you want like a topping G5 NX7 type of size? So if you want the, kind of phone shape sized DAC amps, DACs, you could go with trying to think which one has a DAC. You could go IFI. I would probably go IFI. But dongles, budget friendly, value for the money. If you just want a straight up quality sound, you could go with either the Periodic Audio Rhodium, which comes in at $50. It's a very good value for that price point. But if you want the most bang for the buck, I would actually go with the Hibby FC3 and FC4. There's plenty of other dongles out there, but those are kind of the go-tos for me. Okay, what's your all-time favorite neutral IEM? That would be the CTM DaVinci 10. And then also, if you really want a neutral, a little bit more natural sound, a little bit more budget friendly than the CTM, you could go with the Zenz Mangard T2 or the JQ4U Pro. Onkar, thank you very much. Appreciate that. I don't know if I'm the man or not, but appreciate the kind words. More technical question for everyone. Meze Empyrean. Yeah, I like the Empyrean. It's a very nice headphone. Trying to get into IEMs, can you recommend the most neutral IEM? I can use it as a reference. Could you tell me two IEMs at different price points, maybe under 200 and one under 500? Okay, so for under 200, if you want something that's a little bit neutral-ish sounding, you can go with Moondrop Kato. That'd probably be a good one. If you want to go planar, if you have a little bit of additional power, you could go with the Tin Hi-Fi P1 Max. $500 range, you would go with the Zenz Mangard T2. You could even throw the top in there. It is a little bit tinted on top in the bass, but overall it's fairly close to being neutral. And then you could also, some may say you could go with the Moondrop Variations, but you will have to wait till the review comes out on Tuesday to know whether or not I actually agree with that. Okay. Oops. Okay, so also if you want to do something kind of in between, that you could also go with the JQ4U Pro. That would be another neutral IEM. That comes in right around the price point. Or the T2 might be a little bit cheaper, but it's more than the Kato. All right, so what are your top three go-to headphones at the moment? Okay, so you have Audeze LCD5. You have the Rawson Red Zero. And then the other one would be my Audeze LCD2 closed. And then if you want a more budget friendly one, you could go with the Austrian Audio Hi-X 60s. Would be in our closed back budget. Okay. If I used balanced the 3.5 converter, do I get the more power without the channel separation or no? You would get more channel separation with as well, since you are going balanced. Um, well, you're going from balanced down. It probably you might notice a little bit. Let's put it that way. I don't know. I've never done that. That's a good question. Um, let's see. Tim Berkman, good evening. All right, let's see here. Paul, Periodic Audio has bullet type IEMs with detachable cables. Interesting. There you go. There's a suggestion for the one that was asking about bullet style. I do think Periodic Audio may be a little more expensive for their IEMs. I'm not sure. I haven't heard them though. I've only heard their little dongle. I think they do theirs based on if you want one with bass, one with more mids, one with treble. They split them out, and their different types have different sound signatures. Okay, let's see. Imagine this situation. I bought the 560s, put on a disturbed sound of silence, FLAC, and I got teary-eyed. First time audio made me cry a bit. Cool. When you hear things different, now you went from the HyperX to the 560s. I can understand that you are hearing things in a totally different way, and that's what that's what hi-fi is about. That's the experience, the emotion, and music should give you emotion. And that's why a lot of times when music comes, when things get recommended or gear comes in, I hear it and everybody's hyped up about how it's so musical and this and that, and I hear it and I go, no, it's not driving me. I'm not getting emotional, and music is emotion to me. So there's got to be a connection to the music, and so I'm glad that you experienced that. That's showing you that what music is all about and what the experience is about. Stop being your sock hop singer. Thank you very much for the 10. I do greatly appreciate it. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. I will get to your question here in just a moment. All right. So what would you say is the most detailed IEM and headphone that you have heard under $150? Under $150, you are looking at the Shure S12 and Tin Hi-Fi P1 Max. Both are very good detailed, right around that $150 price point. The Kato, when on sale, can also be there, and they're all very detailed and $150-ish price point. Headphone wise, $150. That's a little difficult. Trying to think here. Headphone wise, hang on, I gotta cheat again. Go back to my tier list. Headphones, less than $150. Now my range, my experience with sub $150 headphones is kind of lacking. You're probably looking at like the Dynamic 990s. Would probably be the most detail that you'd get in the 150 or less price point. The Rode NTH 100s are good for that also. AKG 612s, but I would probably say the Dynamic probably brings in the most detail in that price point, 150 or less. All right, let's see what else we got question-wise. Good questions tonight. Okay. Vitamin Water, you're very welcome for the recommendations. By the way, Bear Grylls. I love watching him, and he always cracks me up because here in the U.S., a lot of us say vitamin, and he always says vitamin, and so it's just kind of funny. So I always crack up hearing him say vitamins with his accent. All right, so let's see. Yeah, 3.5 can't be balanced. It could damage if they don't know how to handle it. There are some adapters that you can get that are built to take balance to single-ended. You do have to be careful. Some of the really cheap ones can be problems. I do not know how they take the power and transition it and do channel separation. I don't really tend to use those connectors. I'll go from single-ended to balanced, but I won't go from balanced downward. Let's see. Moondrop Land. I haven't heard that. May have one sent to me at some point, but I haven't been asked if I want one or anything like that. But one may be coming from another reviewer, but that's in the process of being discussed. Let's see. What would you choose for on the go? A phone with a DAC or a DAP? No Bluetooth, all wired, or which one would you prefer? On the go, if I would prefer a DAP. That way I can just disconnect and don't need to worry about phone calls. If I know that I'm going to need to use my phone, I may use my phone with a dongle. But I would use a DAP mostly portable. It's just me. I do not have a problem with pausing music, taking IEMs out, making the person on the phone wait until I, so I can get it all, or I'll just call the person back. So yeah, I would probably use a DAP on that. I do use dongles quite a bit as well. But if I really had to choose and I'm taking a long trip, like going on a flight or something like that, I do use my DAP more. IEM with best sounding stage. Electrostatic IEMs have good sound stage. I actually, E-stats do tend to have good sound stage. So like if you have you have some sort of hybrid or a tribrid with E-stats, tweeters, they do tend to have a very expansive but accurate sounding stage. The best stage I've ever heard in an IEM actually was the Empire Ears Wraith. Now the Wraith had some other issues as far as some other things that it didn't do quite as well, but the Wraith had an amazing soundstage. Another IEM that had fantastic soundstage was the ADV Furai. It's not made anymore. It's been discontinued, but the Furai had an amazing soundstage. And the thing that both of those did was it put you in like this, it felt like you were watching an IMAX movie. It was just like this amazing immersion, and it just made you feel like you were in the moment no matter what you were listening to, whether you're watching a movie or gaming, listening to music. It didn't matter. You just felt like you were right there with what was going on. Those two really stand out for their soundstage, and I do believe the Wraith had ESTs. The Furai I don't think did. I think that was dynamic only, dynamic and BA maybe. Let's see. HE 400 SE for headphone. We talking $150 price point. SE 400 SE is not a bad choice. For $150, it open back, not closed. But yeah, it's a good starting point. You do have to have an amplifier to drive them a little bit. Hey, you're very welcome, Encore. Any thoughts on Fio BTR7? I probably wouldn't use it. It's Bluetooth. I don't really use anything Bluetooth, and I'm kind of, unless a product that's being sent to me to be reviewed has more than just Bluetooth as its focus, I'm probably not gonna review it. If it's mainly Bluetooth focused, I'm gonna kind of pass on it. I just don't use Bluetooth. Let's see. You reminded me somewhere I have an old cheap MP3 player. I should try that thing with IEMs. It was a local brand and used AAA batteries, 2 gig storage, and MP3 only. Could be fun. It could. Um, it'll at least get you kind of the sense of using a player without being connected to a phone. It kind of puts you away from everything else. Kind of disconnects you. As far as the music quality, MP3 may be a little lacking, depending on whether or not you hear differences in music files. But it'll at least get you into that spot of, hey, you know what? I kind of like being disconnected from my phone, and maybe explore getting a DAP for the future. Ernest, thank you very much for the kind words. It says, Dave, your channel is underrated. You get to the point on the reviews and you don't sugarcoat it. Awesome review on the Zen's top is on my radar. And on the top, what will be your nitpick? On the top, the nitpicks on the top are very limited. But the one thing is it has a little too much bass at times. It can be a little too much not to be completely 100% neutral. It's just a little too emphatic at times, but it is very fun. But overall, it also is a little elevated in the mids, just a little bit too much, but it's pretty darn near close. I think you can get to 400 SE. Yeah, well, $109. I think I saw it. It was actually under 100. I think on the Hi-Fiman website for a little bit. It may have been a B stock or or it could have been a return. But you can get the 400i and the 400 SE fairly cheap. Quantums, your video on the Meze Empyrean was a favorite. And end game headphone. Oh, definitely, for sure. The Meze was very good at that time. It was the headphone for me, and the one that kind of said, "Yeah, let's step aside." But at the same time, I just couldn't step away. So I came back. But I do like the Empyrean a lot. I actually prefer the original over the Elite. You also have a portable CD player, a Kobe unit, similar to some of the Sony Discman's audio CDs. Have okay quality. Have to find it and try it. You've read it right, Kobe. Yeah, I actually had a Kobe MP3 player back in the day. It sounded all right, but man, the thing was slow. Like you would hit a button and it would be like, oh, you want me to go to the next track? It was kind of slow. But yeah, Kobe used to make quality stuff back in the day, and then they kind of fell off. I don't think they're in business anymore. All right, let's see here. I do need to get a CD player. I have so many CDs, and the CD player I have is just one of those little desktop ones that you can plug into your laptop. I need to get a legit CD player. I used to use my PlayStation 3 as my CD player back in the day, but that has transitioned out into the living room as a Blu-ray player. All right, let's see. You guys should try a Sony P27. It's a transistor portable FM radio still being made. Oh, wow. It has 3.5 millimeter output. Interesting. Nothing audiophile, but great cheap audio gear to have. Well, you know what? I rarely ever listen to the radio, so that actually might be kind of cool. I didn't even know they still made those little transistor radios. Cool. I do listen every now and then to the radio through Audiophile. It has the ability to listen to radio stations from across the world, so that's kind of cool. Comes in handy if you're trying to get like news and things like that. All right. So, anyways, could you check your email? Looking forward to a response. Sure. I will check the email. Do you want me to check it right now? Let me see here. Gmail. Let me see what got sent. All right, let's see. Opening up Delicate Flames. All right, I will not read that on live. I will consider it though. Um, that is a subject that is something that I haven't really considered. So thank you for the offer though. All right, let's get back to the other topics. Come here, kitty. So we have a Milo who has decided to join us. He's not very happy about being on screen. Yeah. All right, I'll let you go. Oh, cat hair galore. All right. So let's see here. I bought the Meze Audio 109 Pros. Awesome, Tariq. Very nice headphone, and look forward to hearing your experience with them. Excuse me, I need a drink. All right, let's see here what we got. Hi. He is back. Yeah. Kiss the microphone. Yeah. You're going to get hair all over me. No, you don't need to be on the laptop. All right. Let's see. I've now owned the 7 Sail Note Zero for over a month and is my new go-to to take anywhere. That is a comfortable fit-wise, affordable price. Awesome. I'm glad that you like them, Master Stapleton. Or Singleton, excuse me. Let's see. I remember the age iPods had hard drives inside, spinning disk drives, and they were huge. I was there 3,000 years ago. Was it that long ago? I thought it was only like 2,000 years ago. Yeah, iPods used to be fairly chunky. Now they're like really small. And you could hear them. They would like, and they got warm. They would, they'd spin up. Let's see. Tariq, and they're burning in his 109s. Awesome. Do you think the C Audio Bravery is still competitive? Yeah, I do. I think that it is starting to kind of dwindle just a little bit into, a few things are passing it, but I do think it's still viable. It's kind of like the Blessing too. It still has its spot where it has a lot of things that it is better than, but there are a few newer things that are passing it. But I do think that it's still a good IEM to get. I like the Bravery, but I do prefer the top over it. And I would probably take the T2 over it as well. But the overall Bravery is still a fun sound, and very it's got a lot of details and things like that. So it's got a lot to offer. Lori, listening to several IEMs today, and what always surprises me is that the Massdrop SSR and the Kato have to break in like they're brand new each and every time, and not sure why. Yeah, they do. Especially the SSR for me. The Kato, I don't have that as much, but the SSR seems to like kind of have to warm up a little bit. It's like an old engine that you kind of have to let warm up in a cold day for 2 or 3 minutes before you put it into gear. The Kato, I do not have that as much, but yeah, definitely the Massdrop SSR. It takes a while. I'm not sure if it's acclimating your ears to it and the music, or if it's actually something with like the driver that kind of is like a diesel engine having to warm up. Tariq says that the 109s are bright and have fitted them with a mod inside the cups. Interesting. That might change after they burn in a little bit. Or it could just be the way they fit on the head. I'm not sure. I didn't find them bright. But hopefully they can kind of settle in for you a little bit. Also could be, the source pairing. Sometimes there's synergy with gear. So maybe maybe that's something I don't know. That's curious. Let's see. Delicates, thank you very much. Choice is yours. For any further questions, feel free. All right, let's see. Milo, yes, he is a very cute kitty. He is definitely my cat. Like, he doesn't really hang out with the wife at all. It's really, really strange. Like, she can pet him and stuff, but if she tries to hold him, he's trying to get out of her hands immediately. But he will cuddle with me, really curl up, and he always comes to me. He wants to be around me all the time. Maybe you're treble sensitive, very possible. It could be just hitting you in the wrong spots. There are certain frequencies that we are that all of us are sensitive to that others aren't. So it could be just hitting you in that one, special place. Let's see. SSR, so they sound like an HD 600. Kind of. They have a similar presentation in that they push forward the mids a lot more, and it's a little bit more full in the mids, kind of like a 600 is. It is kind of like a 600 IEM form. It's not as detailed, and as resolving as a 600. Has a little bit more bass, mid bass, but overall, it's kind of one of those IEMs that it'll remind you a little bit of a 600. Am I up to hearing a new song? Sure. Let's see. Check out Let 3 Mama SC. They are representing Croatia on the next Eurovision Euro song. Let 3 is a rock punk band, and Mama SC is the song name. Okay, so Let 3 song Mama SC. All right, I'll see if I can find that. All right, let's see what else we got. What are your thoughts on the new 660S2? I'd like to hear it. It is interesting the way that they have kind of tweaked it. Kind of looks like they added in some of what was the grumbles about the original, as far as more bass extension, and maybe tweak the treble a little bit. Not sure. It kind of depends. Sometimes when you mess around with the bass and treble, it can do weird things with the mids. So I am curious to see what it sounds like. Like to hear it at some point. Wow. IMR EDP Ace took 600 hours of brown noise before it settled in, became one of my favorites. Interesting. Things don't normally take that long. That's craziness. The C Audio Rinko. I've never heard of that. What is that? Let me look it up. C Audio Rinko. What is this? Oh, that's the Zeos one. I don't know. Be interesting. The Chimera Nana Z was an interesting take. Zeos has a certain flavor that he likes, and so I'm curious to see if C Audio is this based off of a Braver. I don't know what this is based off of. What is the Rinko going to be on? I didn't know that was going to be the name of it. Be curious to see if which model of theirs it's based off of, and then if they can kind of emulate Zeos's interesting flavor that he likes with his kind of big bass, lots of mid bass thump, and a little bit excitable up top presentation. Oh, so it's gonna be a planar, okay? And it's gonna be cheap. Like how cheap? Let's see. The Yume 2 is 200, so it's gotta be cheaper than that. So it's gonna be, and I think that's their cheapest one. Hybrid planar. Oh, so it's gonna have a dynamic in it. Or is it going to be a planar? Please don't tell me it's going to be a BA planar. There has not been a good one yet. What is the perfect tuning curve for headphones? On the top of the chat, there is a link here. Actually, I will just drop it right now. So I'm going to drop this into the chat. It's a link to a write-up I did, and inside it is my reference curve. You can click on that link, and it should take you to what is an honest target curve. That shows you what I think is the proper tuning curve for an IEM. It's going to be a very neutral and natural presentation, and that's the way I think that they should sound. And if you look at some of the IEMs that I highly recommend, something like a Tin Hi-Fi P1 Max, even a Massdrop Kato has a very similar type of tune, even though it's a little more elevated. You look at a JQ4U Pro, Zen's Mangerd T2, even the top, even though it has a little bit more elevation, it still has that kind of form of a tune as my reference has. Remember, reference curves are targets; they're not set in stone. So there is a bit of ability to have some elevations and peaks and dips among it. As long as it has that kind of target curve, it's going to sound similar. Hopefully, as long as they implement the driver technologies and all that correctly. It's interesting that a lot of times, target curves are kind of taken as golden when they actually should be taken more as just a baseline benchmark. It's not set in stone type of thing, but they should be more looked at as a target to play around with. And, it's like you don't have to hit the bullseye immediate, exact. You can be within the target and still sound good. Have I heard the Seek Real Dawn? Yes, I actually did a review of it. Very interesting IEM. Has some good, has some very interestings. My target curve can be put with headphones. Headphones are a little bit different because you are playing with larger drivers and things like that. But yeah, you can still aim for that. Because if you look at my LCD 5, which I really absolutely love and adore, it follows a similar type of curve. As I said, you can still have peaks and valleys and dips and things as long as it has that kind of slopiness that I'm seeking. Same thing with a Rawson Rad Zero. Okay, let's see. Let me get back to here. All right, 191. I would like more people to know how an average Type C to 3.5 millimeter DAC can improve the sound over most onboard sound chips, like the Realtek's, like $2 to $10 USB-C DACs. Unfortunately, I actually haven't heard a whole lot of that. The really cheap ones, most ones that come out for the most part are usually somewhere in the $20 to $50 price points. Some are way more expensive than that. But I do think that dongles could be a little bit cheaper. Now you have a couple options from Venture Electronics that sounded very good, that are about $10, $15, somewhere around that range. You can also get some other other dongles from other companies that I really haven't ever dealt with. I haven't tried, so be curious. Maybe I should do a video on that to see what these cheap no-namer ones sound like compared to Hibby and all the others, Audio Engine, and what's the other ones I'm thinking of right now? Sorry, My brain is starting to slip. Zeos versus Critical versus HBB. Who would win the affordable IEM collab game? Yeah, that's interesting because they all three have kind of done collabs in different ways. They all have a different type of tuning that they like. I think that to be fair to them all, I think that HBB and Critical have more of a particular type of sound that they're seeking that would that only that certain people would enjoy more. Whereas like Zeos kind of has a more just kind of pleasure to everybody type of sound. And I actually think that Zeos would probably win that battle if you were to say it would be a battle. As far as which one would appeal to the masses the most. I would almost think that based on what I have heard of the different collabs from them all, I would say that Zeos has the more appeal to the general public, whereas HBB and Kryn have more niche types of sound signatures with their collabs. Just my personal opinion. But they all do good, so. From what I see, it is a planar BA, but it's a C audio. It could be good, but being a Zeos collab, I feel for another SA6 Ultra issue. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't hear the SA6 Ultra. Wanted to, but be interesting to see what happens with that. As I said, Zeos kind of usually his sound normally appeals more to the masses, so be interesting. I lost my spot here. Sorry. Okay, so when you step up to a better dongle DAC, it will give you more voltage and watts to your IEM or headphone. Kind of depends. They some of them are more powerful, some aren't. Just kind of depends on the DAC chips and the implementations that they use, and the op amps and all that kind of stuff that they have built into them. As far as where you see the more step normally is in the actual reproduction of sound. Coming from the DAC chips, normally in that regard. Power is a different story. Yes, Lori, I totally agree. The curve, as I said, does apply to both headphones and IEMs. It's a little more iffy when you put my target curve against IEMs, as yeah, because IEMs or excuse me, headphones. As headphones have a little bit bigger drivers, sometimes bigger, so can be fluctuate a little bit more. But yes, trust your ears over a piece of paper or over a graph for sure. As I said, graphs, measurements, target curves are just that. They're just target curves are tools, and they're not set in stone and that exactly gonna perform perfectly just because it matches up directly with your graph. It all comes down to gear synergy, how it's tuned, implementation, and all that kind of stuff. Wonder what Truthier would release a planar. That'd be interesting. Curious to see if Truthier would come out with one. If Kiwi Ears, and they may have, I don't know. I haven't heard of one yet. Might be interesting. Want to hear a tribrid or a hybrid IEM from Senfer. I think it's the MT500. I haven't heard any Senfer products. You'll still use your Mojo 2. Nothing wrong with that. I haven't heard it, but heard the original. Do you think it's worth upgrading from a Variations to a Mest Mark II? Haven't heard a Mest Mark II. There Let's see here. I could send you to cheap dongles that you found. You could send me links. Sure, send them an email. I'll take a look. Most people do not know the 7 hertz cell note 0 were also collab with Clinical, correct? Quantum Manchester Orchestra is a very good. I like them a lot. Let's see. Good day, Sir Dave, and hello, Desiree. Desire Death. Desiree Death. Interesting name. Let's see. What else we got? KZ. Nope. Won't talk about it. FIO makes great dongles, USB DAC amps. Yes. Everything that I've experienced with FIO. Absolutely. Let's see. Cayenne RU6. Haven't heard that yet, but I've heard good things. Kind of hard to come by for me. You could collab with Truth Ear to create a plain IEM for them. Send a suggestion over, sure. I'm open for that. Anybody want to do a collab? I'm willing to take a shot at it if anybody wants to take the risk. Collabs are a risk for manufacturers and also for reviewers. There's a lot that goes into it. So there's a lot of expense, a lot of research, a lot of time and effort. So we'll see. Have you tried any IEM from Audio Dream? They're kind of like Unique Melody. I haven't heard of Audio Dream. No. Let's see. So I told my wife that I was going to try to do a 90-minute live stream. So we're nearing that. I don't want to rush everybody off. So if you have questions, keep them coming. We can go for a little bit longer, but we'll be wrapping up 10, 15 minutes or so. Audio Dream is a Brazilian company. Interesting. Okay, I'll have to look them up. Thank you for the suggestion. Getting a lot of suggestions tonight. Any other questions, comments, concerns, thoughts? Milo, what are you doing? Why are you staring at the staring at the wall? Milo, come here. Come here, kitty. Come here. Come here. Yeah, come. There we go. Everybody wants to say hi. There you go. Yeah. He's the only one in here tonight. The others must be. Oh, you gonna be nice? Come on. The other ones are out in the living room, chillaxing apparently. All right. So, do you think it's a good upgrade from Dunu Titan S to 7 hertz Timeless? It's gonna be an interest. It's gonna be a different presentation. So the Titan S mid forward. Very good tone and timbre. Timeless is going to give you a little bit more bass that the Timeless or that the Titan doesn't have. It's going to give you a little bit more sub bass, a little bit more mid bass, and it's also going to give you a little bit more detail. It's also going to give you a little bit more sparkle and energy up top, especially right around between about 5 and 8K. You're going to get a little bit more energy there with the Timeless. It's plain R, so it's going to be a little bit quicker. It's not going to quite have that dynamic fullness. It's going to be a little bit more energetic, but yeah, it would be a good upgrade. They complement each other very well. Going to need a little bit more oomph from your amp to drive the Timeless. But yeah, that would be a good comparison, a good complement to the Titan S. Let's see. Talking about the what was that company's name? The Brazilian company, Audio something or other. Audio Dream. There we go. They make high-end stuff. Funny enough, they even some great planar hybrids, like the Diablo and Verso. Diablo. Yeah, something like that. Interesting. Planar hybrids. I will have to definitely look into them. What is your favorite tuning for headphone IEM? I really do like a neutral and natural presentation. Put a link in. If you go to my website, there's a thing called the Honest Target Curve, and that'll kind of give you an idea of what I seek and sound. What is your favorite tuning? I'm sorry. Have you reviewed any Sennheiser IEMs? Can't find any in your library. If you can't find them in my library, I haven't reviewed them. I have heard a knockoff Sennheiser. Somebody sent me. It was kind of an interesting tuning, but I didn't review it because it was a knockoff, wasn't an actual. Um, I don't remember if I've actually ever heard a true Sennheiser IEM. Maybe I have in passing at like a audio show or something. 7 Hertz Legato. That's another one I haven't heard of. Man, I'm learning of all kinds of new ones. Is this a budget friendly one or is this a new, more high end Legato? What is this? Oh, wow. Interesting. Let me click on this link here. So is this a planar? Oh, it's a dual dynamic, 6mm, 12mm. Well, all I have to say is I hope it's better than the Eternal. Was not a fan of the Eternal. All right, let's see what else we got here. Saw a bunch of more questions coming in here. Hey, you're very welcome. Let's see. All right, thank you very much, 191, for sending over the findings for the links for dongles and stuff. I'll take a look at that. Omo would love to hear some non-Brazilian reviewers review the Audio Dream IEMs. They are very popular between Brazilian musicians. All right, yeah, I'll definitely take a look at that. Let's see here. Custom IEMs for artists. But since the audiophile people got in love with their IEMs, they also started to make universals. Interesting. Is the Hexa, now this is a good question, is the Hexa worth getting if you own the Blessing 2? Not really. It would be a downgrade in my opinion. Unless you want a budget version of the Blessing 2, I would just stick with the Blessing 2. Now the Hexa does fit better. But the Blessing 2 is better detailed, better resolving, has a better stage on it, more accurate imaging. The Hexa does have a little bit more bass, so if you need more bass from it, and the Hexa may have a little bit more body and note weight to things, as the Blessing 2 is a little bit thin. But as far as technicalities go, I would stick with the Blessing 2, truthfully. I think it would be a downgrade. A good dual dynamic is the Deboshi Bacchus Monroe. Another one I've never heard of. When is the Heyday review coming? So that should be, let's see, this next week we have the Singzer and the Variations. Heyday should be the week after. So 2 weeks. Sorry for the delay. It's been trying to get through everything in a timely manner. All right, so let's see. Do you have experience with gaming IEMs from like Logitech, Razer, HyperX, Rocat? Not really. Some of the gaming IEMs, I kind of tested the waters way back yonder at the beginning of my channel. got a couple from like ADV. I think they were like the Nismo or Nismo Jr. Something like that. They were these in ears that had a microphone. But since I do mostly solo campaigns and solo racing type of stuff with gaming, I don't really use a microphone or doing chats while gaming. So I kind of gave up on them. And I just use regular IEMs for gaming. You suppose they're terrible like their headsets. The ones that I've heard, I've never been really impressed. And so if you're going to use them for gaming, they they normally do okay for gaming. But if you're going to listen to music along with them, forget it. They're normally not very good at that. Hey, Master Singleton, you're very welcome. Always. You're always welcome for opinions. I will always give a thought. Cat is exploring things that he normally doesn't in the room. Let's see. Right now, one of their most expensive models is the Somnian Ether. Is more than $2,000. That's pretty pricey. Let's see. It would be interesting to see a review of various concert earplugs in terms of sound attenuation, effectiveness, and clarity. You know, that would be interesting to see, because one thing I know is, so last year I went to the Indy 500 and Indianapolis 500, and there were so many people there that didn't have hearing protection. And I took some hearing protection. My wife took it too. And we sat there and we put the hearing protection in. And it was amazing how you actually hear things better. You know, like it's not just the roar of the cars as they go around and everything's just like, you know, insanely like compressed. Like you just can't understand anything. But when you put the earplugs in for that purpose, it evens it out and it helps so you can hear the loudspeaker system that's going on, and the cars that go by sound like a car going, but it doesn't sound like just this big loud roar. And you know, and it was interesting. And so that would be a very unique test to do. Also for concerts. Now I don't go to concerts like rock concerts near as much as I used to. Probably should get back into that, but things are quite pricey as of late. Most of the concerts that I go to are more mellow. So it'd be interesting. That would be an interesting video to do for somebody to do. I guess you could do it even if you were just like using them while mowing the grass, and outdoor activities like that. You could even do that test with. Offbeat question: how's the new coffee system, the AeroPress that was recommended to you? Seems a bit tedious. AeroPress is a unique experience. Does take a little bit of patience to learn the process. At first, I was pressing down too much, and because I'm kind of an impatient person, I was like, I want my coffee right now, and so it was coming out a little bit weak. But as I've learned the technique, it's kind of like doing a French press. You just kind of have to learn, and you have to build your patience up. But yeah, I actually made a cup of coffee the other day that I was like, this whole cup came from the AeroPress, and it tastes good. You know, it's not just some little piddly bit because I'm pushing it through so fast. Patience is the word for AeroPress coffee. Let's see here. Apologize for throwing out IEMs that aren't so mainstream. Hey, you're welcome. You know what? I like learning about different things and hearing what other people use. I'm very interested in that. If I can get them in for review, it would be awesome. And you know, you won't know about that they exist unless they're mentioned. So mention away. I love hearing about new stuff. Let's see. Actually, most nearly all gaming headsets are bad for competitive multiplayer gaming. Even pros on tournament use IEMs under the headphones that they use as noise blockers or sponsor promotion. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a professional gamer. I don't even play any like shooter games anymore. Any competitive type stuff. As I said, my gaming has really dwindled over the years. In fact, I haven't gotten on my PlayStation 4 in 3 weeks. So yeah, my gaming has really dropped. All right, let's see here. What's your opinion on the earphone impedance plugs for noise filtering? They're very interesting. So I haven't experienced the actual like the adapter ones. The only ones I've used is the IFI, IE Match, and Earbuddy. So depending on your IEM and depending on your source, they can come in handy. But for the most part, most of the newer gear, you're not going to have a lot of mismatch when it comes to impedance. So they come in handy now and then, but I don't use them very much, if at all. They do make a difference, though. You can hear a difference. They will filter out some noises, but they also can alter the sonics of an IEM. So you kind of have to mess with it and understand where they're impacting, not. And I just haven't ever done that. Flair makes an earplug called a Calmer. I think it's the realm of what you're talking about. Okay, interesting. I will look that up. Yes, very much so, Master Singleton. Coffee can be an expensive hobby to get into. As you recently upgraded your coffee bar, yeah, absolutely. There is so many different things that you can upgrade to. You can start off with the very simplest of pour overs. You know, you can go from paper to mesh filters to all kinds of other things, all the way up to super expensive setups. You can do all kinds of different types of coffee. Can get very expensive depending on where you bring it in from and what type of machines you're using. Yeah, absolutely. Coffee can be extremely expensive. But for somebody who's like me, who is just kind of dabbling in it, I haven't really gone gung ho into the coffee world like I have audio. I I have reached my spot of kind of, okay, this is how much I want to spend on my coffee, and I'm content with it until I taste somebody else's that's made on some, $10,000 coffee press, and I'll be like, oh. Tiger 300, I haven't heard. I haven't heard a whole lot of the like Sennheiser Barodynamic Audio Technica type of gaming headphones. I've only heard back in the day the cheaper stuff, or the gaming ones. Yeah, you ordered a 75 ohm adapter just to test out. It was cheap, so I'm up for an experiment. Be curious to see what that plays with. 75 ohm would be interesting because you don't have a lot of headphones that come in that range. Um, See how it affects things. Independence plugs can make a huge sonic difference in IEMs like AudioSense DT 600s, DT 300s. Yeah, I mean, they can affect things differently for sure. I just haven't messed with them, and I'm not sure if I really want to, because I kind of want, as a reviewer, to give just an experience based on stock form as much as possible. You should, would I suggest a Tiandra CS Pro? I have never heard of it, honestly. I just started watching James Hoffman. Oh, yeah, James Hoffman, man. You talk about coffee. He's the man. And he improved your coffee game a lot with the Dolce Gusto in a French press. Earlier it was instant coffee from Nestle. Mm. Yeah, going from instant coffee to a actual roast and grinding your beans and things like that, and going to French press, definitely will step up your game. Even if you buy pre-ground coffee versus instant, you'll notice a difference. There, French press, I love French press. My three favorite types of doing coffee, way I make coffee, is French press, pour over, going into a Chemex, and then also AeroPress. And I love those three types. And French press, and when I'm being patient enough, I will do that. AeroPress has taken up a lot of my time lately, though. But if I'm in a hurry, I'll just do pour over. If you really want to start messing with your senses, do pour over and try out a mesh filter and a paper filter and see if you notice a difference. All right, so last 15 minutes here. We'll quit at 9 o'clock my time. Let's see. The Diabolo Diaboli uses one planar, two ESTs. And then the Verso uses one planar, two BA for bass. They're not so normal. Yeah, that's interesting that you do EST with planar. That's something that hasn't come in a lot of the more common chi-fi editions of planars right now. They're not using the ESTs. They are experimenting with the BA. I have not really heard a planar BA IEM that I liked. There's just they just don't mix very well together for me. EST might be a little different because EST has a way, as we talked about earlier, has a way of expanding the stage and really kind of being immersive. Plus, it's not as what's the word I'm looking, edgy and sharp in its presentation. So maybe the ESTs will be a little bit softer and a little bit more natural in its approach with a planar, because planars kind of have an edge to them as well. So I think that planar edge and that BA edge just don't mix when it comes to 2K and the 5K range, and that's where the trouble spot has been with planar BA hybrids so far for me. Quantum, you're very welcome. I'm glad that you enjoyed the stream. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. If not, yeah, give it a thumbs down. I understand. But I'm glad that you understand it and that you think that it's been educational and interesting as well. You're very welcome. Let's see here. Yeah, James Hoffman also actually helped you up your espresso coffee game. If you are curious at all about coffee and you want to get into the hobby, James covers it all, from the super budget stuff to the uber super mega forget about how how you're going to afford it type of stuff. And he's very knowledgeable about different types, the way that it all works together and how you can change things up and James Hoffman is an incredible source for coffee on YouTube. So look him up if you're interested at all at upping your coffee game, whether it be on the budget or on, I don't care about the price. I just want good coffee. Let's see, Tear for Fears and Depeche Mode concerts. Yeah, you definitely will need earplugs for those, for sure. You got one. Wow. You got a jewelry scale to weigh your coffee, and you restored your decades old manual grinder. Coarse grind, a manual, 35 grams of coffee for half a liter. I have not gotten to the point where I'm weighing my coffee yet. Now, a friend of mine does, and he says it's really changed the flavor. So maybe I should. I kind of eyeball it, and use the scoops. But I should try to weigh it sometime. I do have a couple scales around. I have not gone that far yet. Manual grinder, that's too much work for me. I'll use my burr grinder. I do have a manual grinder. So when I want to work out my wrist, I'll get my manual grinder out. Let's see here. Amazing kitty cat. Yes, absolutely. Your IMR is a tribrid. It has a one Adic dynamic, a planar, and a Sonian bone conductor. Interesting. Some of the bone conductor tweeters are very interesting. The way that they produce, or is that the Sonian bass? I'd be curious. Master Singleton, I definitely will. Milo will probably curl up and take a nap in my lap here in a few minutes. Lori, thank you very much for your feedback. Microphone was great tonight. Save your money. I think part of it also is the positioning that I have done in the past too. That may cause some problems. All right, so let's see here. I'm torn between the Bravery and the T2. Which one would you pick for an all rounder? I would act for all rounder between the two. Bravery, but for a more neutral and a analytical sound, I would go with T2. Bravery has a little bit more of the fun factor, a little bit more bass, a little bit more sparkle and energy up top, whereas the T2 is more neutral across the board. The if you really want more like body and note weight, especially in the mids, T2 will add that in, but it is a little bit warmer of a sound, not as much sparkle and energy as the Bravery. When not reviewing and you're just relaxing, what's your favorite IEM and headphone? Okay, favorite headphone is the Odyssey LCD5. For IEMs, it's the CTM DaVinci 10 is the one I would reach for. But also, depending on what I'm listening to, the Zen's Manger top has kind of drawn me away a little bit and said, "Here, you got to have some thump. You got to have some of that bass going." And also, I like the Moondrop Kato a lot. Okay, so on the Verso, the planar is for the mid range, and treble, and the BA is for the bass, which is how the Talos should have been. Yeah, absolutely. Sonian BAs are actually fantastic for bass. They are incredible with bass. It's the best sounding BA bass comes from Sonians, in my opinion. Um, their treble does good, but I like Sonian ESTs better as tweeters instead of their BA. Not that their BA is bad. It's just I prefer their EST a little bit more. Planars for mid range are interesting. There's only been a couple IEMs that have come out that way that I've reviewed, and it has a different type of texture to it. And it kind of needs to be complemented by a little bit of a more if the bass cuts out and dips between about 150 and 1K, then you're kind of having some issues with suck out and you lose body, and that affects the planar for mid range. So you kind of want the bass to kind of slope into about 300 hertz, and you get a little bit more body, and it helps the naturalism come into that planar mid range. Um, that's an interesting way of them doing that. So like I'm trying to think, to try i3 Pro. So that one had a lot of bass, okay, and that was a dynamic, I think, in the bass. If they had done BA, I think that would have helped a little bit in the bass presentation that it has from about 150 to about 300 hertz or so. If that was filled in a little bit more, it would have helped those mids out with that planar in there. I'm trying to think of another one that does planar mids as an IEM. Um, Can't think of one right off the top of my head, but that's kind of the issue. If you can keep the body in that lower mid range, it helps those planars out a little bit, in my opinion. What ear tips do you use or have on hand to get better fit? I have all sorts. Kind of my go-tos are the CTM Flexi Tip. Also, the dual flange is really good. I use the Asla ear fit lights and shorts. Those are really good. JVC spiral dots. The Sony, I don't remember the name of them. They kind of look like JVC spiral dot. Um, I have all kinds of other ones. Software UCs are really good. Um, I just kind of roll through them all and try them all. It just kind of depends. Another one that's really interesting is the E Pro horn tips. They're like barrels. They're really long and skinny, but sometimes they just fit in properly and will give you a good seal. If it's kind of a shorter nozzle, sometimes they will work with it like the shorter nozzle type of IEM because they'll extend a little bit farther in. All right, so last 10 minutes here. Have a good weekend and hope to see you next time. Thanks, Matthew. Appreciate that. Quantum says mushroom coffee is good to relax the body. Okay. Yes, Alice, it was good to hear that Damar Hamlin has recovered. He still has some struggles to go through, but it looks like he is going to make a full recovery. I don't know if he'll ever play football again, but it's good to know that he has been able to return to life as normal for the most part. Let's see. Weighing coffee results in drinking the same coffee each time. It's way easier to get the taste that you like. Yeah, I mean, that is one thing that I've noticed about mine is every now and then it's got a little bit more, robustness or not. So it makes sense. My microphone has a built-in pop filter, but thank you for the comment. What do you think is the best sounding single DD from Experience DLC is the best? Kind of had this question before. Moondrop Kato, in my opinion, is one of the best ones out there available, under $200. Let's see. Please use a Max or a Brita, Max 4 or a Brita filter for water. Removing the lime scale from the water helps the coffee. Yeah, absolutely. I do use filtered water when making coffee. There's just something about tap water that does not taste good with coffee. You can definitely notice a difference. Absolutely agree. Let's see. My favorite closeback is the HD 820 with the HDV 820. Interesting. I have not heard the 820 very often, and I don't know if I've heard the HDV 820. If I did, it was at a show a long time ago. Very interesting headphone. It has a uniqueness to it as a closeback. It has a soundstage that you don't hear very often in closeback. It is not something I remember very much though, so I can't comment a whole lot. All right, let's see. Let's see. Honest Coffee Drinker with Dave, second channel YouTube. Absolutely. If I have an opportunity to hear one of those audio dreams, definitely would jump on the opportunity. Z1R, IER Z1R, is it worth it? It's been a long time since I heard the Z1R, and not sure. I mean, I think it's a good IEM. It's definitely has some tendencies that may or may not appeal to everybody. But overall, it's not bad, but it would have to be a certain price. Those things are pretty expensive. It is a got the bass and the detail and resolution in the bass, but it does struggle a little bit in the mid range and in the treble. So again, it's if you're into like metal and hard rock, EDM, that type of thing, it probably would be good for. If you're more of a classical, jazz, acoustical type of listener, probably not so much. Hey, thank you very much, Christopher. I greatly appreciate it for the Java train. All right, awesome. You got the AU and Flamingo working. That's good to know. Thank you for the feedback. Have I tried growing any yeast or anything like that? No. Haven't do have a bread maker somewhere around the house, but we never use it. Um, what would be your choice of a neutral to mild IEM if you were looking for the most sound 250 or less? JQ4U Pro, and the Zen's Manger T2 if you can get it on sale. The AFU Performer 5 that is on the list to be reviewed. One thing to say, their designs are top tier, but cut off. Since their IEMs are mostly custom, the cable is like the truthier one. Yeah, unfortunately, that is kind of the case with a lot of custom IEMs. I noticed is the cables, they don't put a lot of effort into it. They leave it up to the user to put their own cable on. All right, so we are going to call it an end to this live stream. So thank you very much for everybody that joined. Nice big crowd tonight. Appreciate it. And thank you for joining. We'll do this again and sometime in the near future. So very much thank you for all. If you haven't already, give it a thumbs up. If not, enjoyed, give it a thumbs down. I understand. And if you have any other questions that I didn't answer, please drop them down in the comments and I'll go back through and try to answer them later on after the replay goes back up. So thank you again for everybody joining, and I greatly appreciate it. And Matthew, thank you very much. Appreciate the $2. Much appreciated. And you all have yourself a good evening. Don't forget to enjoy the music, and that honesty is the best policy. Bye-bye.